Hey guys, Brian here. So I have a question for you. You know, when you head out on a trip, how much planning do you actually do in advance? I like to generally pick a location where we're going to go and leave the plan pretty loose as to how we're going to get there. You know, we have a pretty self-sufficient RV and you know, with our solar power and all that, so we can pretty much stay anywhere. So I guess you could say I really prefer to wing it. But Melissa, on the other hand, not so much. And this became very apparent on a recent trip where we were heading down into Oregon, where things pretty much went south right from the start, or actually southwest. But yeah, here's Melissa to tell you more.
I kind of had left it up to Brian to kind of map everything out and figure out how we're going to get to our first destination.
It was well planned. I realized that we were following in the same path as Lewis and Clark did, and basically we're on the Lewis and Clark trail. I felt like Lewis, and I don't know, was Clark irritated?
Clark was very irritated at that point. You know, I mean, I'm all about some adventure here and there. In the daytime, that would be fantastic. It's pitch dark. I don't know where the hell we are.
There's nobody there. There's nobody around. Yeah.
I gotta have a plan. Where are we going? So we left our house on Thursday after work. Left maybe about 5:30 at night, and anticipated about a 3.5 hour drive to our destination, which was Astoria, Oregon.
Yeah, pretty place.
I kind of had left it up to Brian to kind of map everything out and figure out how we're going to get to our first destination.
It was well planned.
I don't think so. And
It was. I had a plan.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah. South, west.
Okay.
Destination.
So we take our first exit we're supposed to take, which is by Longview.
Longview, Washington.
Yeah, and get off. It's a weird exit. It's got some weird forks. We're not quite sure. And he thought, well, this is going the right direction. We'll just go this way. This will get us that way. It'll get us to our...
Yeah, we're supposed to cross right over in Oregon.
Anyways, we start getting into areas that I found questionable, a little scary. Not sure if there were any turnarounds. Roads were getting tinier and tight little neighborhoods and a little bit industrial, and
You started to get a little anxious.
a little bit, yeah.
And we're tired. It was dark.
Yeah, I don't do well with the dark.
Strange territory.
Yeah. Get to an area where he can attempt to turn around, miscalculated just a little bit, ended up having to back up the rig with the car attached.
Shh, not supposed to do that.
Not supposed to do that. So slowly trying to back it out so we can get out of this area that, again, I found questionable, and I just want to get the hell out of there.
We made it out.
We did, we made it out, but we still never really found the road that was, oh gosh, it's starting to rain. We have to pause for a moment because it's starting to rain.
Okay, we're back. Had to come up with a plan B. Just keep us out of the rain.
Yeah.
But now it's stopped, but you notice we're facing a different direction. So anyway, back to the story. We got turned around, we took a wrong exit, kind of heading off into who knows where, and we still have a ways to go. So
Right, which, a funny side note, on the way there, we were talking about how come people don't use actual maps anymore. Everybody has a GPS in their car, they use their phones. You know, we had a story with our son who let Siri guide him and took him like 100 miles off course because Siri decided that was a better option. So what do we end up doing? We end up breaking out the phone to get the GPS to try to figure out where we are and how to get to our location. So...
bad idea.
Well, yeah, in this instance, it was a bad idea.
It did give us a course. So we followed it.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was pretty good. It was going to get us to our destination.
Yeah, so we kept going. We said, okay, I gave Melissa the phone, and I said, okay, you follow the directions and I'll drive, and let's get us to where we wanted to go, which is Astoria, which, if you're not quite familiar with that place, Washington on one side, Oregon on the other side, and there's a Columbia River in between, and there's only a couple of places where you can actually cross the river. So we're heading west towards the coast.
Right. It's dark. It's 11 o'clock at night. And the next thing we know, we see a sign for a ferry. We're like, wait a minute, is this taking us to a ferry? We had no intention of taking any sort of ferry across. Didn't know there were ferries that would go across.
Yeah. We were seeing a lot of Lewis and Clark historical markers along the way, and realized that we were following in the same path as Lewis and Clark did. And basically we're on the Lewis and Clark Trail, still in Washington though, which our plan was to be in Oregon.
Right.
I felt like Lewis, and I don't know, was Clark irritated?
Clark was very irritated at that point.
Lewis had it together. Lewis is the rock.
Clark did not. Yeah, so we realized, yes, this is taking us to a ferry, because I look at the phone and I realize, oh, on this little destination there's a boat. Apparently the boat means we're going to take
It's not a bridge, it's a boat.
It's a boat. And so again, how are we going to get across to Astoria tonight? Now it's 11 o'clock at night. It's pitch dark. I don't know where the hell we are.
There's nobody there. There's nobody around. Small town. Even the tavern was closed.
Everything was closed.
It was another 45 miles to kind of wind our way through the hills and valleys in the dark, and it's raining.
Yes, it's raining.
It was just not good.
I was not happy.
Yeah.
I gotta have a plan. Where are we going? You know, I mean, I'm all about some adventure here and there. In the daytime, that would be fantastic. At night, when you can't see around the next corner, and yeah, I like.
But when we got to the Astoria Bridge, the good news is it's like the Holy Grail. It's like, oh, there's the bridge. We finally made it. You know, there's our destination.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it was all good. It was all good at that point.
It's fine.
Or were you done?
I was happy to see the bridge. I was happy to see we were going to get to our destination.
I had full confidence the entire time.
I did not, unfortunately. We're going to get a GPS.
So what do you guys think? Do you like to wing it like I do when you're out on a trip, or do you like to plan everything down to the finest detail? And let us know. You know, we like to hear from other RVers out there, and you know, I'm sure you got tips and stories. Maybe it's an embarrassing story, or maybe you got some great tips for how to find adventure when you're out there on the road. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if this is your first time joining us, I do hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, we'll see you guys next time. Happy RVing!